So let's see what your boy Biden admitted to. This is breaking news because, before he was saying he hadn't done anything nefarious. He wasn't participating in anything that would lead to a security breach. He had no dealings with the Ukraine or China. Neither did his son. All that we know was malarkey. Here, the Daily Times, and you can look it up, it's on other publications as well. We see Biden, his whole administration admits to flying in 320,000 migrants secretly into the United States to reduce the number of crossings at the border. And this has posed as a national security threat. Here they say national security vulnerabilities. Do you know what happens if you pose your country, you as a person or entity, provide or become a security threat to your nation? Do you know what the consequences of that is? It's called treason. If you are in a leadership position and you're supposed to protect our freedoms, and you actually make the border a national security threat or vulnerable to national security, and the consequences of treason is having your assets frozen and being eliminated. So this is serious breaking news that the Biden administration admitted to flying in hundreds of thousands, 320,000 migrants secretly. That alone can get him taken down, not only taken down, but taken out. So with this news just now breaking, and it came out on mainstream media news too. It didn't circumvent the mainstream media news, but we knew that wouldn't happen because on December the 15th, 2022, President Trump signed the Digital Bill of Rights Act, which then stated that social media and mainstream media can no longer censor the people. They can try, but they will not continue to succeed. So this set the groundwork when he signed the Digital Bill of Rights Act December the 15th, which was actually the anniversary of the Bill of Rights becoming law. And that meant now that the news had to come out so that we, the people, could know what was going on. So a lawsuit reveals Biden's CBP is refusing to disclose airports where it's flying undocumented aliens from other countries into our nation. So now we understand why Governor Abbott sent or deployed the National Guard to protect his borders. And then when Biden said, you know what, we're going to federalize the National Guard so that you no longer have control over your own army, and we're going to now put them under our control. That's what Biden said. But then the state attorney general in Texas said, you may not come over here, Biden. We're going to keep it the way it is. The National Guard is under our leadership here in the state of Texas. So Abbott was a little concerned, though, that Biden would try to nationalize the security guard. So he reached out to President Trump. And I keep saying, if Trump wasn't the commander in chief, Abbott would not have reached out to him and asked him what to do. President Trump then encouraged all the other states, and especially the Republican-led states, to send their National Guard to Texas to help protect the border. Now, not only did they send National Guard to Texas to protect the border, they actually covertly, secretively, quietly deployed the National Guard all over this country to protect us, because they knew how serious this war is against the Biden administration and the black hats that have controlled this planet, not just America. So here are the major takeaways from this article. A lawsuit revealed that Biden is refusing to disclose the airports where they're flying in these undocumented illegal aliens. Secondly, it comes amid a continued flow of migrants over the southern border. That, again, is why Abbott sent the National Guard there to protect the southern border in Texas. And the third point is that Biden's expansion of the CBP, one app, allows migrants to apply for asylum in their country, be flown to the United States, and given 2 years to obtain legal status. Now, some of the other points that they haven't brought out in this article is that these people were given the right to vote, that these people were given benefits, they were given food stamps, welfare benefits, housing. They were given cell phones and all the type of benefits that Americans were supposed to get. And some Americans were actually kicked out of their homes. This is why people in Chicago and Atlanta and some of your major cities are like complaining and demonstrating and going to talk about taken to the media to talk about how they're worried about these illegal immigrants coming into their states, taking their benefits, taking their homes. Women and children are being kicked out of the Section 8 homes. How do I know this? Not just because I've read it or I've seen videos. I've had people to call me to tell me they're being kicked out of entitlement benefits and homes. And even our children are being misplaced out of the schools. For example, Rochester, New York, where I have family. They sent the children home and told them to be instructed in home on the computer and then put migrants in the schools because they had inclement weather, bad weather there in Rochester, New York, and where they had been housing these illegal immigrants was very unsafe, and they were prone to I guess the cold weather, and they've had some problems because of the snow and the hail and all that. So they took them out of those shelters and put them in the schools. So they're misplacing American children from the schools. They're misplacing women and children from the homes. They're misplacing some of our elderly people even from the nursing homes and putting illegal immigrants there. I mean, how much more are they going to do? So this is coming actually right before the elections. This is on the day of the primaries. This is before the elections, which makes me feel that we may not have an election if indeed more information like this keeps coming out. And we also have information coming out from the House Oversight Committee that shows that Biden has been a security breach. Then they will have to do something. The Supreme Court has to do something. Something would be in a way by way of removing Biden because he's a security threat. So why do I say the Supreme Court has to do something? Now, Lloyd Brunson and the Brunson brothers, who are trumpet players, actually brought a lawsuit against Joseph Biden, Kamala Harris, who else? Nancy Pelosi, and 385 members of Congress. And they said that the Brunson brothers said they believe that they participated in tampering with the 2020 elections. Well, the Supreme Court refused to hear the case. So the Brunson brothers were concerned about that because, they were like, and keep in mind, they are trumpet players, right? Trump as in trumpet sounding. You sound the alarm, sound the trumpet when you're going to war. You sound a trumpet when you're making a major announcement. You sound a trumpet when you're having a big celebration like a jubilee. So it's no coincidence that the trumpet players filed these complaints against the Biden administration. But when the Supreme Court refused to hear the case, the the trumpet players or the Brunson brothers had to come up with another plan. And what they did was found a loophole that showed that if the Supreme Court knows or have been alerted to our borders being breached or anything happening with the administration to cause our security to be breached, and the Supreme Court does not hear that case, then the Supreme Court can be held, or the Supreme Court justices can be held on grounds of treason, and they can have their assets frozen and they can face execution. They didn't want that to happen. So not long ago, it was decided that the only person who could single-handedly rule whether or not the Brunson brothers had a legitimate case against Biden, Harris, Pelosi, and 385 members of Congress, the only person who could do that is Clarence Thomas, Justice Clarence Thomas. Now, some would ask, why was he the only one? Maybe he's the only one that wouldn't take a bribe. Maybe he's the only white hat or the good guy in there. And perhaps this is why they called him a racist when he first, was placed in that position. Maybe they knew that this guy would refuse a bribe. Maybe they had some inclination that he was a good guy or a white hat. So they tried to call him a racist or a sellout to the blacks. They made fun of him because of who his wife was. They brought up charges against, what is her name? Anita Hill, saying that he accosted a female and did something nefarious to her. That was never proven to be true. So these people, they know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. However, we've come to the time in our lifetime where truth has to be disclosed. And the truth is showing that Biden has in fact allowed illegal immigrants to come here to America. Some people say that not only were they given benefits and the right to vote, and they were given an opportunity to become a legal citizen, but they were also, some of them, given weapons, according to some testimonies.